you're struggling to buy your second truck, you don't know whether you're coming or going, you need some type of vision, some type of goal ahead of you to look forward to. And if it's not realistic, then maybe scale it back, but you need to apply some type of goal and have a photo like on your phone, right? Where is your 5 daily non-negotiables that you need to do every single day to build up your business?
This is the Snowball Effect. You're listening to the Marketing Playbook series, presented by the Snowball Effect Podcast. It's growth done right.
I'm not blowing smoke here. I'm really excited to have Mark Hirschi on the podcast today. Mark, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I was telling Todd, I'm like, I love your background. That's not even an artificial background.
You know, we overcompensate where we have to, but I want to introduce our audience to you. If you don't know who Mark is, he is the president of Salmon Moving and Storage and recently acquired Ellis Moving and Storage. Is that right?
I did, yes. Located
Awesome.
in both beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, like I always like to say on the podcast.
I am so jealous. I went up to Vancouver for a better part of a week a long time ago, and I will not shut up about Vancouver to my wife. I went on the gross grind. And,
Gross grind, yeah.
Yeah, and it kicked my butt. One of the most beautiful places on the planet. So super jealous there.
Thank you. It's
But-
definitely a very popular spot for sure that everybody likes to hit. I just don't recommend it any time of the season except for maybe like 3 weeks in the summer because it's typically raining. So
Oh, okay. So that's just a big mudslide
it
up
kind
there.
of is. It's the West Coast, right? It's the Pacific
Yeah.
Northwest.
Yeah.
That's why everything's so beautiful and lush and green all the time here. So
Well, that thing was pretty much straight uphill, and I can't imagine if that was a muddy mess. That would have been a nightmare.
oh yeah.
But what I really got to tell people about is your Movified podcast. Mark is the host, the legend on the Movified podcast.
I truly appreciate that comment. That means a lot to me. So thank you.
I want to kick off right there and just kind of pick your brain and tell me, you've been running the Movified podcast. How long has that been going on now?
We are coming on. Well, we just started our 3rd season. So we
Congrats.
launched the fall of 2023. Crazy.
Well, you seem like a guy who just kind of speaks off the cuff. So I've got to know, in all that time, what is the most embarrassing thing you've ever said where you've put your foot in your mouth?
Todd, you know who I am. I mean, a lot of times I ain't putting my foot in the mouth. What I've realized is I tend to be I sometimes don't, we all have run into this situation. We don't allow our brain to think and we just kind of blurt things out. And so I found while doing this so many times now that it's a good thing to blurt it out, but make sure your audience and who your guest is, you have a quick reaction. And it's really about trying to see their expression. If I'm noticing their expression and something is a little bit off, and this happens a lot actually between me and Steven. So when me and Steven do our Wednesday episodes, we will have like different looks. And he will give me a look or I can feel that jab and he's like, you hit something on that one. And then I really try and learn to take a step back. But I've had it where we've done a couple episodes and we've had the guests respond back to me saying, can you please not air this because I went deep. And I really want to go deep into conversations. The reason I find people are entertained to listen to the episodes is because I'm trying to ask the same questions that anybody else would that's listening to this. Going, can you just be blunt? Like, can I just find out? My biggest struggle when I was growing my moving company was if you reached out to a local moving company owner and said, hey, how are you guys doing? Are you guys busy this February? I'm slammed. We got every truck out. We're so busy. Everything is great. Everything is fantastic. And then you drive by their shop and all their trucks are sitting there. You find out that he's in debt. He's about to lose his house. He's breaking up with his wife. And it's like, why can't you just be real? Because we're all under the same struggle.
And I think that's why people resonate with it is because they say, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going through. That my finances are a mess, or I'm up to my eyeballs in debt, or the stress this is putting on my family. And, just real things that we all run into. I mean, what does Elon Musk say about entrepreneurship? It's like eating glass all day. Like there's hard things. And if someone's just glossing over that and making it all look, hunky-dory, that can sure be discouraging.
Well, and social media does that now too. We see that
Right.
all with celebrities, and we see that with, influencers that are out there, and we all get attracted to this amazing lifestyle. I think my wife sends me messages 4 or 5 times a day with different reels of vacation trips, and here's this, and look at this life. And to me, it's a fantastic vision board. Don't lose sight of that. My word of advice always is don't lose sight of your end goal and manifest the hell out of it, right? Look at those vacations, look at those trips, look at those big houses. Because if you're still living in a 1-bedroom apartment, you're struggling to buy your second truck, you don't know whether you're coming or going, you need some type of vision, some type of goal ahead of you to look forward to. And if it's not realistic, then maybe scale it back, but you need to apply some type of goal and have a photo like on your phone, right? Where is your 5 daily non-negotiables that you need to do every single day to build up your business? It's so key in elevating yourself than falling short and just going, woe is me. And we see that also in the industry a lot too.
I've got to know a little bit about something that you're passionate about, Mark. I love hearing what makes people tick, what really gets them fired up. But I want you to pitch me why I should be as passionate about this thing as you.
In regards to the podcast or regards to the business?
Anything in life that just gets Mark Hirschi fired up.
I love community. I love
Community.
having conversations.
Did I hear that right?
Yeah, I love having conversations with young entrepreneurs or ones that don't know that they are an entrepreneur yet. I find that we live in such a society where we need to go to school, we need to go to university, we have to have a good degree. We get the degree, we can't find that job, we struggle to find that job, and it's an ongoing cycle. And then we just kind of are happy with our, $70,000 to $100,000 a year job. Now, don't forget, I'm probably saying this in Canadian dollars, so that's probably like, 40 to 60 USD. But the reality is that if you are not being trained to think outside the box and the opportunities in front of you, then you're just going to go down that pathway, whether it was how your parents were, who your friends are. And I am where I am today because of the communities that I surrounded myself with. Todd, are you still in touch with friends from like high school?
Yeah. There's a handful of them.
Like a group. How many of them are in the SaaS industry?
I've got, I think, one that is, but most of them aren't.
So the reality is that if I looked at my group of friends, some of them are business owners, some of them have their regular jobs, a lot of them are family men, but they don't understand the day-to-day struggles of running a moving company. Not to say that moving company is the be-all, end-all, this is the most stressful and hardest job, but what I found is it pulls you in lots of different areas as you're trying to grow your business. You are a man or a woman of many hats. You are, sometimes someone's financial advisor. You're their best friend, someone to lean on. You're learning how to do payrolls. You're learning numbers, accounting, how to schedule effectively, how your customer service skills, your sales skills. It goes on and on. How to change a tire, right? How to check for oil, how to check your DEF fluids. You really have to learn a large variety of different positions in order to then start building SOPs in your organization, in order to really understand when you start hiring for those positions, this is how I can train you. When it comes down to community, it started by going to a moving conference event and engaging and networking and talking with other movers, and then kind of going, man, we have a lot in common. We should hang out more. And then it started with a text message, and that's kind of how, I joke with it. We call ourselves the Let's Go Boys. We used to be going to conferences as the big hype guys, sit in front row. We're eager learners. We want to learn. We want to grow. And we used to shout out and chant like, let's go, like, let's get everybody hyped up. And it's big props to, my friends in that group, Austin Yarbrough, Nikhil Murdoch, Matt Young. How could I ever forget Josh Shipman, right? So, I mean, me and him are twins when you look him up. That group, and I apologize, Josh, if you listen to this. I don't know why I totally hit a brain. I was visioning myself and then I visioned you. So my apologies. But, that group became a really good core. And then from there, we set out our goals. We would sit there in 2024 going, where do we want to see ourselves? How is this going to work? I really wanted to open up another location or acquire another moving company business. At that time, I was talking about going, I kind of want to start this podcast. I see the podcasts out there. Some of them are good, but a lot of them, were either falling short or just needed a little bit of refresh. Like we kind of need to add a little zest into the podcast journalism take of it. And big shout out to Wade Sweikel, who to me, him and Ben Cross were, big OGs in different sectors of the podcast communities or in the moving industry, where Wade really took on himself on independent movers. Someone like Ben Cross really took it on the relocation. He was at the IAM conferences and all the big events. And for myself, it was, how can I make this fun, inviting, and into a marketable setting? Like I really came into designing this podcast as a community builder, but also like a brand. Like when I get the biggest enjoyments when I get to design my t-shirts for different events, and then everybody gets to wear them. And a lot of those funds, whatever we try and raise, if I'm not just handing them out for free, is going also for the Move for Hunger. So there's a catch to it. I'm really never looking back to make any money off of it, but I always want to try and give back to where I can.
So you're designing these t-shirts yourself, getting them out to everybody, and all that goes to, what's this charity that it goes to?
It goes for Move for Hunger. So try and give at least 50% of the proceeds back to Move for Hunger. Some of it does go obviously to the printing of the shirts and getting that done. But at the same time too, I want to give back to the community. When I met Stephen Reed, it was an instant connection of going, how can we, well, first it was, hey, can you come on the podcast? Hey, can you come on the show? And we shared the story on this because it was me, him, and Brian Slater, where I said, well, let's do a Wednesday episodes, because why not do it Wednesdays if I'm doing Mondays? And when I first started this podcast, it was even funnier because I was just excited if I could do one episode every 2 weeks, because I was like, I don't know a lot of people in the industry, especially in the United States market. I know a lot of Canadian movers, but nobody else. So it was a lot of, it's how we build our businesses. You've got to get out there. You've got to put yourself in uncomfortable scenarios in order to grow. And that was reaching out to moving company owners that I had never met, following them on LinkedIn, reaching out, hey, would you like to be a guest on the podcast? Hey, would you like to be a guest on the podcast? And eventually what ended up happening was we were at an event, me, Brian, and Steven. I said, great, let's do an episode. And then as Brian Slater got more inundated with his work, it was always me and Steven. And I said, well, I guess it's just us two. We can't just keep interviewing each other. So let's just start getting some guests. And I remember, I'll never forget, at the ATA event with him last year in Nashville, we both sat there and he says, what is your goal? Like, how do you want to make this work? And so that you're not just burning out from doing these podcasts. And I said, well, I'd love to try and have some sponsors. Shout out to Snowball, Landon, such an amazing guy. You, Todd, as well.
We're pumped to be sponsors. We're pumped to be sponsors to the Movified Podcast.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you. And a lot of that also, again, just goes to some of my time, but it's also to get the VAs and to get the notice out there and the push out there. And so when the podcast started, my big thing that I wanted to change was, if I had a moving company owner on the show, I want to have it so that they are almost getting free advertising, because we already struggle so much in our own social media aspects. We're like, oh my God, I got to go and film some videos here and there. And if we can have
Well,
an
because you're wearing
episode,
all those hats that you alluded to
that's
earlier,
right.
right?
So
You're wearing a dozen hats. Like now you've got to be a video producer.
so now you come to a conference and you have an opportunity to sit down with me for 20, 30 minutes, share your story, share your struggles, share where you're going, whether you are a 1-truck operation or a 100-truck operation. I want to know your story. There's something that's going to resonate with someone that's going to listen to the show. But then take that and repost it, reshare it, put it on your website, do whatever you can with it. Go to Opus Clips and take the URL and cut it up and make a couple reels for your business. It is free marketing that we pay thousands of dollars for. So go do that, right? To me, it's huge. But yeah, Stephen Reed sat with me and I said, where do you want to see it? I said, it'd be amazing just to have some sponsors on the show, a way that we could grow the community to a larger scale. And he says, all right, I'm in. Like, let's make this happen. As long as, everybody has a VA from ReadyRolls.com. Shout out to Stephen and Ready Rolls team. I wouldn't be able to do this and have the time at all to run 2 moving companies, my business, my family, my kids, without VAs. So go get yourself a VA. But at the end, to kind of wrap this up, then we started Movified Nation. And Movified Nation is really now a mastermind program for small entrepreneur business owners, groups of 8, anywhere from 6 to 8 that we have in each group. And we lead it with topics every month. It's usually myself, Prop here, the CEO of You Move Me. He jumped on board as well too. He's a really good friend of mine and said, I would love to provide assistance and help and also grow as well too. And so we help moderate this group of men and women that are just looking to understand industry, grow, and stop reinventing the wheel. I feel like if I had something like this 15 years ago, I probably would have kept my first moving company and have 5 or 6 locations by now. But I didn't. I kept pivoting and going, I've hit a roof. I don't know where to go. I don't know where to turn to. I'm just going to try and sell it and go buy something else, right? I'll just go to the next best thing, until you start realizing, just like anybody in a relationship and you get a divorce and you think, the grass is always greener. Sometimes you're better off just really understanding, sitting back, learning it, figuring it out, and just going through the thick of it.
You started out with describing this passion you have for community, right? And how early on, there's this loneliness. You approach one mover and they're like, yeah, I've got everything and things are crushing it. But at the same time, you're trying to run what you've got, and you have this deep loneliness of, does anyone else out there deal with these issues I have? And you found a crew. What'd you call them? The Let's Go
Boys.
Guys?
Let's go, boys. Let's go, boys.
You found your posse, but now what you've turned that into is a community, this Movified Nation that other people can now come in.
I remember seeing a meme once where it was a clip and it showed Monday morning bank account $7.50, Wednesday morning bank account $89,000, Thursday $300,000, Friday $4.50, and it's the fluctuation of, as a business owner, you're like these highs and lows of expenses and paying out and payroll and everything, and it's crazy. But even to touch on that a step farther, I'm not trying to look. For all those that have been watching and listening, you hear me all the time. I'm never about trying to plug anybody that I have as a guest on here. I'm not trying to plug for everybody to go on to Movified Nation, join a mastermind group, or watch Movified, or follow the journey along. But the last stepping stone that's happened over the last 3 months is we came out, or I came out with a book called The Mindset. And what I want, and that's what I'm saying, I'm not trying to plug it at all, but when we talk about community and we talk about the struggles, what I realized going to some of these conferences is a lot of us have this spirituality within us. Whether we're Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, whatever we are, we always look to a higher power, whether it's a daily prayer or devotional book that we kind of work through. And going to a conference last year, I realized, man, there's a need for almost like a mover's devotional. because a lot of us don't understand the struggles that go through. And so I put together a 365-day journey. It's a massive book. We joke about it. You can use it as a book stopper or door stopper, sorry. You can use it if someone gets mad at you to throw out. This is about as heavy as a hammer. Whatever you need, this book is very
If you
useful
need a
for
blunt
you.
object to make
If you
a
need a
point.
blunt object, if you need to start a fire, you have pages to last you like a week.
This
You're
thing
good.
is like so multi-purpose.
It's a
amazing.
multi-purpose. But the idea is that you kind of have a topic, a devotional as part of it, and then it's followed with a challenge and a reflection and a prayer. And then you can also journal your thoughts for that day. You know, like Stephen Reed always says, it takes you about minutes in the morning to kind of go through this. Take your time, read it, digest it. And I always tell people sometimes at the end of the day, do the journaling, see how your day went. But at the end of the month, what's great is that it actually asks you some questions, like what worked best, what didn't work best for you for that month. And as this goes through, it's almost kind of like your personal diary in your moving journey, because as the years progress, you can almost have a library index of your moving mindset volumes, and you can look back and go, man, this is where I was in 2026. It's now 2028. Look at how much I've evolved. Look how much I've grown. Wow. And you can flip through different months or different struggles and go, man, how was I doing last June? You know, and you start reading through and be like, man, I was in a rough space. This wasn't looking really good. So that was the kind of idea of the book. It's, again, not a plug
But what
all.
a grounding exercise, Mark, with all the chaos and, you know, that up and down of your bank account that you alluded to. What a grounding exercise to remind yourself and to tap in, to recenter yourself on the things you care most about. I think that's a beautiful grounding exercise to do every single day.
I think it's a huge change. There was a part of me, you know, as I started having these opportunities to go to conferences, where the conferences were almost like an scapegoat. You know, you're so busy dealing with your businesses and your family and the kids and everything else that's going on, that if you don't allow yourself to have, you know, they call it like a complete blackout, like a reset, where you turn off your phones, you go away, you hibernate, you rethink, you journal, you do everything else, and you pivot to go, oh, I'm going to a conference. Guess what? Open bar, lots of people, lots of chatting, and I'm a bit of an extrovert. You actually lose hindsight of why you came to the conference, which was to learn, and you end up turning it into a booze fest. And for a lot of conferences that I had went to, I was situated in a mental state where I was like, well, you know, it's just a couple glasses of wine, or hey, the event's going to start tomorrow, and we're going to go out, and you're just drinking, and the next day you feel like shit. Well, you know, and I saw this at even the last conference I was at, where a lot of guys went out and stayed up late, and the next thing you know, the event started at 8 in the morning, and they were rolling in at like 10 o'clock, fairly hungover. And that used to be me.
Yeah.
And you know, like you said, Todd, you have to change your mindset. You have to know, like, what is my goal? Where do I want to be in my life? Do I want to be that guy, or do I want to be the one that's 6 o'clock in the morning at the gym, wondering where is everybody else? Not stopping you from having a drink or two the night before, right, but figure out where, like, what was the purpose? Where is your ROI when you're going to these conferences, these networking events? Because at the end of the day, I had to do that shift, and that shift has helped evolve where I am today. You know, clearer mindset, ready to go. My day starts. My day this morning was getting up at 5, hitting a 6 a.m. workout class, and then head to the office, and I'm prepared. I'm at the office. I'm getting things done, and then from one meeting to another meeting to a podcast to you to, you know, and then the day continues. You have to get in there and have to do it.
Well, it just seems so much more sustainable, right? To have a healthy, balanced life, to get into that habit. My background's in marketing, right? And I've got someone like
Mine
you
too.
that has been, right? You're so immersed in the moving world, and you've got this marketing mind. If you look out at what movers need to do right now, help me understand, what's one thing you would tell a young moving company owner out there start doing this and stop doing this other thing?
One would be looking at your branding. Look
Tell
at
me
your
more
brand.
about that.
Look at your branding and see if everything is consistent. It's something that I've always built in. This is why I got into the moving industry, was working on moving company owners' brandings, because it was consistent. And we hear about it all the time. Wrap your truck, come up with a good brand, have something catchy. One of the best things I heard recently from Larry O'Toole with Gentle Giant, huge company, like 26, 27 locations all across the United States, is have a brand that is like family friendly, where the children are going to point to your truck and go, "Oh, I like that, mom and dad. Like, that's a really cool truck, and it really stands out." Kelly from Moving Pros, she recently did a presentation at the Virtual Movers Conference where her brand was the complete opposite, right? It was in your face, you're going to get shocked when you read this, but it created a buzz. So look at your branding and take a look at what are you doing then about your branding. You're going to get the guys that go, "Well, Mark, I listen to your podcast and I follow all those guys, and I know my truck is wrapped and I'm doing this and I have all the brochures and everything is looking great." Great. Okay, well then how are you as a leader? Then, like, how are you doing at sales? What are you doing to think outside of the box, to market your business, to grow your business, to not just be like everybody else that's, either sending out mailers, that's going to BNIs or networking groups, that's just knocking on realtor doors trying to get a referral. What are you doing like outside the box, and be creative? I remember years ago, one of the best marketing guerrilla, was it guerrilla marketing? Grassroots marketing.
Yep.
Was one of my moving company neighbors, right? Lauren from Ferguson's. And he says, "Well, we just take a box and a pen and a little rack card that says, like, 'Hello, neighbor,' like, blah, 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 and here's some information. And we see a house for sale and we drop it off at the front door." That customer will probably take that box in. You might get a phone call and a lead. It probably costs you $3 for the whole package. But if I'm the moving company going in to do an estimate and I walk into the living room and I see a box from Ferguson's in there, I'm going, "Shit, they've already been here to do an estimate." And you're going to become nervous. You don't know what to do. And, they're a huge brand. So think outside the box. That would be my biggest thing.
So this was a box and they just wrote something on it with a Sharpie?
No. They had like a little rack card, like a little postcard,
Okay.
and a pen. And so they would take the pen and hook it onto the box. Behind that would be the postcard, and they would just leave it at the front door.
What a simple, cool little thing to stand out. And in a world of AI slop and everything's being automated, to just get something real like that on your doorstep that you would never expect.
It works out great. Look up, companies like Clutch Moving. Look up Miracle Movers out in Salt Lake. You take it a step farther, don't have a plain box. They actually came out with white boxes, so they wrapped their boxes, right, with logos and colors, and it really stands out. Our newest boxes for Ellis, we have a transition between one side and the other side. So when you fold it, and it's a folded box, you have a mountainscape for Vancouver along that side, and then our character polar bear on the side, and then a QR code that's going to lead you, when you scan it, to more packing supplies and packing videos. And so people are now engaging. They want that box. So there are ways to think outside the box. All right, what was the other question?
I love it. Okay, what do they need to stop doing? Just something, they just got to knock it off.
Oh, stop thinking that you know everything, and make sure that you are documenting and writing everything down. I've been doing this for 20 years. I still don't. I still have sometimes a hard time to create SOPs and say, "Oh, okay, well, this is a new thing that we're doing. Let's do it once or twice." And then go, "Okay, we really need to document this down." And then 4 weeks go by and you're like, "Oh shit, we're doing this again. Where's the SOP to do this again?" And it's a cycle. Don't, stop. I work on it every single day to make sure and make and block the time to go, "Okay, let's sit down with my team. How do we make this into an SOP so that everybody knows what's the playbook behind this?" But then also, as you're growing and you're trying to grow and you're going, "Why we're not growing?" It's sometimes you. You went into business, you can watch the shows. My background was branding and marketing. I knew sales. Did I know business? Kind of. But I probably should have been really good, either partnering with an accountant or somebody that was like a CFO, or bringing someone in early that could understand, or like a business development person to help grow the business. A lot of guys I talked to were lawyers, accountants, IT tech, and they got into the industry. Find out what you're good at and then hire. Delegate, 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 right? One of the best advices that TM from Let's Get Moving gave me, I said, man, how are you doing this? He goes, I just learned to be the best delegator. I found people that were really good at the things I needed to get done and turned around and hired them and said, you go do it. I'm going to go do something else because that's not my forte.
Mark, thank you so much. I feel like I want to do a whole nother session, just pick your brain about marketing in the moving industry. You have been so helpful and just given us real practical things from somebody who's been in the trenches. So first of all, thank you so much for joining. How can people connect with you if they want to learn more and see more about what's going on in Mark's world?
Yeah, I would definitely be following the Movified podcast if you can. That's how you're really going to get it in depth. You can always follow us on social media, whether it's Salmon's Moving or Ellis Moving on the Instagram or Facebook, if you want to check and see our marketing tactics on the moving company side of things, or find me on LinkedIn, just Mark Hirschi on LinkedIn. You can find me there, and always reach out. Feel free to reach out. If you're listening to this and you're struggling, you don't know where to turn to, I am a DM away to lend a hand and share a quick phone call.
Mark, the man, the myth, the legend, thank you so much for joining. And for those of you that joined, thank you so much. And we'll see you next time on the Snowball Effect.
See you later.